Some people carry their entire lives in silence, moving through the world with a quiet strength that almost no one notices. You can see it in the small pauses between their breaths, in the familiar way they swallow their words before they become sound, in how they instinctively tighten their shoulders as if preparing to hold just a little more weight. They are the ones who never ask for help, not because they don't need it, but because something inside them learned, long before they could articulate it, that needing others is risky, that asking is exposure, that wanting support opens a door they are not sure anyone will walk through. And if you're someone who seeks deeper psychological understanding, feel free to subscribe. This space is built for people who want to understand themselves with clarity and gentleness. If you've ever felt this quiet pattern within yourself, even in the faintest ways, then you already sense the invisible world we're about to enter. There is something quietly devastating about a person who resolves everything alone. On the surface, it looks like competence, resilience, strength, but inside, the story is usually different. Inside, there is the subtle tension of someone who has spent years trying not to take up space, someone who has built a life around being dependable while never depending. This pattern doesn't announce itself loudly. It reveals itself in small, nearly imperceptible behaviors. The instinct to say, "I'm fine," before anyone has even asked. The habit of solving a problem in private before anyone knows it existed. The steady refusal to show exhaustion even when the body trembles under the weight of unspoken overwhelm. Understanding this matters because people who never ask for help often carry emotional landscapes they themselves barely recognize. They may appear calm and composed, but inside, their experience is shaped by old lessons, that support is conditional, that needs are burdensome, that vulnerability is something to be managed rather than shared. These beliefs shape relationships, choices, self-worth, and the quiet way they move through moments of pain. And for many, this pattern becomes a kind of identity, one they don't know how to set down, even when they wish someone would step in and carry a small part of their load. You might notice these tendencies within yourself. Perhaps you too have walked away from moments where someone could have helped, choosing instead the familiar solitude of handling things alone. Perhaps you've convinced yourself that it was easier or safer or simply more efficient. But beneath those justifications, there is often a quieter truth, that asking for help feels like stepping into a space without knowing if the ground will hold. That uncertainty shapes the way you speak, the way you feel, the very way you inhabit your life. If you feel drawn to understanding these deeper psychological patterns, if slow, thoughtful explorations of the mind resonate with you, you're welcome to stay and continue onward. As we move forward, allow yourself to settle into this examination slowly. Let the ideas unfold at their own pace, the way emotions surface gradually when given room. The psychology of those who never ask for help is not a simple story of independence. It is a woven structure of memory, emotion, protection, and longing. It holds the weight of past experiences and the careful strategies built to survive them. And as we explore this, you may begin to notice the quiet places in your own life where you've been carrying more than you realize. Let's explore this more deeply. There is a particular stillness in the lives of people who never ask for help, a quiet pattern that begins long before anyone notices it forming. It appears in the subtle way they approach problems, the calculated calm that settles over their thoughts the moment something becomes difficult, the immediate shift into self-management as if an invisible switch has been flipped. To understand this pattern, we must first see it not as a personality trait, but as a psychological architecture, something built over time, shaped by experiences, and held in place by beliefs that were never questioned. The refusal to ask for help is rarely about pride, and it is almost never about confidence. Instead, it emerges from a deeper internal logic. The belief that self-reliance is safer than vulnerability, that autonomy is a shield that, depending on others, disrupts a delicate balance they have learned to maintain. When someone consistently avoids reaching out, their mind is not blank or indifferent. It is intensely active. They scan the situation, calculate possible outcomes, and move towards solutions with the precision of someone who has rehearsed this internally for years. Their thoughts may race quietly beneath the surface, yet externally they remain composed, offering no sign of the internal strain. This, too, is part of the psychology, the instinct to hide difficulty, as if revealing need invites something unpredictable or unstable. Their silence is not empty. It is protective. It is a boundary drawn long before the present moment. Beneath this behavior lies a cognitive pattern known as self-sufficiency bias, the tendency to believe that relying on oneself is inherently more secure than relying on others. This belief doesn't appear out of nowhere. It is reinforced through countless experiences, some remembered, some only felt. The mind begins to equate independence with emotional safety, turning what might have been a flexible preference into a rigid rule. This rule shapes their behavior in subtle ways. They minimize their needs before anyone else has the chance to, convincing themselves they are manageable, that they will pass, that asking for help is more trouble than resolving the situation alone. Even when stress rises, even when their body tightens with exhaustion, the instinct remains the same. Handle it, quietly, internally, without becoming someone else's burden. This tendency is also influenced by attachment patterns. People who learned early in life that emotional closeness comes with unpredictability may find themselves gravitating toward distance as adults, not out of avoidance, but out of caution. If someone grew up believing that their feelings might overwhelm others or be dismissed outright, then asking for help no longer feels like a neutral choice. It feels like stepping into a space charged with uncertainty. Their independence becomes a familiar refuge, a controlled environment where disappointment cannot reach them as easily. This is not the cold detachment it may appear to be from the outside. It is a learned form of emotional management designed to preserve stability. Sometimes the reluctance to seek help is rooted in a deeper fear, the fear of being misunderstood. To ask for help is to reveal something raw and unrefined. It is to let another person step inside a moment of vulnerability. For many who carry this pattern, the thought of being misinterpreted is more frightening than the difficulty itself. They would rather endure discomfort privately than risk opening themselves to confusion, pity, or judgment. Their silence, therefore, becomes a way of maintaining control over how they are seen. It preserves an image of competence, even when the internal reality is more fragile. If you look closely, you may notice this pattern in small moments of your own life. The time you said nothing, even though you were overwhelmed. The time you convinced yourself you could manage everything alone. The time you dismissed your own needs before anyone had the chance to hear them. These tendencies often feel automatic, as if the body responds before the mind has time to intervene. But behind that automatic response lies a history of expectations, a set of beliefs that once served to protect you and now operate quietly beneath your decisions. Understanding these mechanisms is the first step toward recognizing how deeply they influence behavior. The psychology of not asking for help is not simply a habit, it is a finely tuned strategy shaped by experiences, fears, and an enduring desire to stay safe. Yet there is something else beneath this surface, something more complicated and often overlooked: the emotional cost of holding everything alone. And as we continue, we will move closer to that truth, layer by layer, until the deeper origins of this pattern come into view. There is a quiet beginning to the habit of never asking for help, and it often starts long before a person can explain what they are doing or why. It begins in small moments of childhood, moments that seem simple at the time but stay inside the body for years. A child watches how adults react to need. A child pays attention to every sigh, every busy glance, every tired voice that says, "Handle it yourself," even if the words are softer than that. Children learn fast. They learn what brings warmth and what brings distance. They learn which feelings are welcome and which feelings make the room grow cold. And when a child learns that asking for help brings discomfort or worry or silence, the lesson settles deep inside them. It is safer to hold things alone. Sometimes it starts even earlier, in a home where the child must act older than they feel. They may help care for a younger sibling or try to stay quiet so they don't add stress to a parent who is already carrying too much. They notice when grown-ups seem tired. They notice when a simple request makes someone's face tighten for half a second. That tiny moment is enough. The child decides, without words, that their needs must stay hidden. They start to think, "I can do it, I should do it." And little by little, this becomes the truth they live by. There are children who grow up in houses full of noise and conflict. In these places, asking for help can feel like stepping into a storm. If a child tries to speak up and is met with anger or impatience, they learn to close their mouth before the words even form. They feel the danger in the air. They feel their heart beat faster. They learn that staying quiet keeps them safe. So they tuck their feelings into small corners of themselves, hoping no one sees how scared or lost they really are. Years later, this child becomes an adult who solves everything alone, even when they are shaking on the inside. But the opposite kind of home can shape the same habit. Some children grow up in calm, loving families where no one means harm at all. The adults are kind, but they may still be stressed, busy, or stretched thin. The child senses this and wants to help. They want to be easy. They want to be the one who causes no trouble, so they hold back their needs out of love. They do not want to add even one more worry to the people they care about. It is a gentle kind of silence, but it shapes them all the same. They learn that being strong means being quiet, and that asking for help feels like taking something from someone else. No matter the setting, the lesson stays the same. Needing help is risky. And once a child learns this, the habit grows with them. Even as adults, they still feel the old fear in their chest. They may stand in a room full of people they trust and still feel unable to speak. They may try to form the words and feel them vanish before they reach their lips. Their body remembers what their mind has forgotten. The shoulders rise. The breath holds. The stomach tightens. They choose silence again. Not because they want to, but because silence feels safe. This pattern can come from small moments too. A parent who praises a child for being so strong when they keep their tears inside. A teacher who likes the quiet students because they never cause trouble. A friend who laughs when the child shows fear, not meaning to hurt them, but leaving a mark anyway. These little things gather over time, like drops of water filling a cup. One day the cup is full, and the child has become someone who believes asking for help is wrong, or weak, or dangerous. And yet, there is another truth just under the surface. Even children who learn these lessons still long to be cared for. They still hope someone will notice their struggle without being told. They wish someone would see the way their hands shake when they try to hold everything alone. This hope does not disappear with age. It becomes quiet, but it stays. And as we move deeper into this inner world, we begin to see how this childhood learning shapes the adult heart in ways that are both tender and heavy, guiding choices long after the lessons were first taught. There is a quiet system inside people who never ask for help, an inner network of thoughts and reactions that activates the moment life becomes heavy. It begins with a tightening deep in the chest, something small and almost invisible, like a string slowly pulled taut. Their mind shifts into a familiar mode, a private world where every feeling is examined and measured before it is allowed to be seen. They tell themselves they are fine, that they can handle it, that showing strain will only complicate things. But beneath that calm surface, something more complex is happening. An automatic push toward control, towards safety, towards staying unseen in moments of need. This pattern often starts in the body before the mind even notices. The shoulders lift by a few millimeters, the breath shortens, the eyes focus on a single point, as if narrowing the world will make the problem smaller. The nervous system moves into quiet defense, not loud or panicked, but steady and guarded. For some, this shift happens so quickly they do not feel it occur. They just sense, moments later, that they have already chosen silence. Their body remembers old lessons, and it reacts with the same careful strategies that once kept them safe. Long before they choose not to ask for help, their body has already pulled them inward. Inside their thoughts, a different pattern unfolds. They begin making calculations, often without realizing it. They imagine how others might respond. Will the person misunderstand? Will they feel pressured? Will they pull away? Even the smallest hint of uncertainty pushes them toward the familiar decision to stay quiet. Their mind runs through scenes like a quiet film, exploring outcomes, measuring risks, and almost every imagined scene ends with the same conclusion. Handling things alone feels simpler, safer, cleaner. The idea of opening up brings a ripple of tension, as if speaking their struggle might shift the ground beneath them. Then comes the emotional layer, the part that rarely reaches the surface. Many people who never ask for help carry a deep fear of being seen in moments of weakness. Not because they want to be perfect, but because they believe their pain is too heavy, too complicated, too much for anyone else to understand. They worry that sharing will place a weight on someone they care about, or worse, expose a part of themselves they have kept hidden for years. So they protect these inner places with silence. They hold their emotions the way someone holds a fragile object close to the chest, wrapped in careful hands, terrified of dropping it in front of anyone. The need for control plays a powerful role too. When you solve everything alone, you shape the outcome. You choose the timing, the pace, the meaning. Asking for help means letting another person into your inner world, which means surrendering a small part of control. For many, this is not a simple shift. It is a threat to the balance they work hard to maintain. Control gives them a sense of order, a sense of identity, a sense of safety. Letting someone else step in, even for a moment, can feel like handing over the most delicate part of themselves, unsure whether the other person will hold it with care. But something deeper sits beneath all of this, something quiet and almost hidden. The belief that asking for help will change how others see them. They may worry about seeming weak, but more often they worry about seeming needy, difficult, or demanding. They fear that their needs will stain the connection, leaving a mark that cannot be erased, and so they keep their world small. They share only the parts that feel safe. They show strength even when they are tired. They present calm even when their thoughts churn with quiet storms. If you look closely, you can feel the tension between what they want and what they choose. They want support, comfort, closeness. Yet they choose silence, not because the desire is missing, but because the fear is louder. This tension creates an inner life that is carefully managed, a world where emotions stay behind closed doors and the mind works tirelessly to keep everything steady. And as we move deeper into this inner landscape, something more complicated comes into view. The way this hidden system touches their relationships, shaping how they love, how they lean, and how they let others into their lives. When someone never asks for help, the people around them begin to feel the effects long before they can name what is happening. It shows up in the small spaces between conversations where silence lingers a bit too long, or in the gentle smile that appears whenever someone asks if they are okay. That smile often looks peaceful, but those close to them can sense the distance behind it, as if a thin wall has been placed between two hearts. Over time, that wall becomes part of the relationship, shaping how others speak, how they offer support, and how they interpret the quiet strength they see. Many people assume that someone who never asks for help does not need it, and this is where the first misunderstanding begins. The person who stays silent may believe they are making things easier for everyone else, but their silence can send a different message. It can make loved ones think they are not wanted in the deeper parts of their life, that there is no room to step in or sit beside them when things grow heavy. Friends may start to feel unsure, wondering if they should ask questions or stay out of the way. Partners may begin to think they are failing somehow, because the person they love carries everything alone, even in moments when closeness should pull two people together. It is not coldness that creates this gap. It is the quiet way the person protects themselves, not realizing it can make others feel shut out. As the years pass, this pattern creates a soft ache on both sides. The person who never asks for help starts to feel unseen, even though they are the one hiding. They may wonder why no one notices their struggles, why no one reaches in, why they always end up standing alone during hard moments. They don't realize that the people around them have tried, but were met with walls so subtle and so steady that they eventually stopped pushing. Loved ones may feel rejected without any harsh words ever being spoken. They see the calm face, the steady voice, the practiced independence, and assume everything is fine. They do not sense the tiredness sitting in the person's shoulders, or the way their eyes drift for half a second when they say, "I've got it." There is also a quiet loneliness in relationships touched by this silence. The person who holds everything inside often watches others connect more easily, share more openly, and lean on each other in ways that feel distant from their own habits. They may wonder why they feel outside of the closeness they crave. The truth is not lack of love, but lack of openness. It is hard for people to step into a room that always looks locked, even when the person inside longs for someone to knock. This creates a soft tension, a sense that the person is both present and far away at the same time. Loved ones may feel like they are standing just a few inches from them, yet unable to reach the deeper layers that matter most. When someone never asks for help, the people around them may start to believe they do not need emotional support at all. They may stop offering comfort because it seems unwanted. They may stop asking deeper questions because every answer given is small and simple and closed. This leaves the quiet person feeling even more alone, even though the distance began with them. They may begin to think, "No one understands me," when the real story is that they have never shown anyone where the doors are. There is another cost too, one that people rarely speak about. Over time, relationships built around silence become unbalanced. One person gives and gives, while the other receives only in hidden ways. Support cannot flow both directions. The person who never asks for help may be seen as the strong one, the steady one, the reliable one. But this image becomes a cage. Others rely on them without ever realizing they also need someone to lean on. And the longer this continues, the more the person begins to feel invisible, even in relationships that are full of love. Yet beneath this pattern, there is no lack of desire for closeness. There is only fear. Fear of changing the role they have lived in for so long, fear of being misunderstood, fear that opening up might shift the balance of the relationship. And as we move further into this inner world, we find an even deeper truth. Carrying everything alone is not just a habit. It is a cost that grows heavier over time, touching the heart in ways that silence can no longer protect. There is a moment, often quiet and almost invisible, when a person who never asks for help begins to feel the weight of their own silence pressing inward. It might happen late at night, when the house is still and the only sound is the soft hum of the air or the slow rhythm of their own breathing. It might happen in the middle of a conversation where they smile at the right times, nod at the right moments, but feel something inside them slipping further away from the people they care about. They carry so much for so long that they forget what it feels like to have someone meet them halfway. And yet, beneath their calm face and steady posture lies a truth they rarely name. All this strength has come with a cost. The cost begins quietly, It shows up as tiredness that sleep does not erase, as a heaviness in the chest when they wake each morning, already bracing for the day ahead. It shows up in the way their jaw tightens by a fraction of an inch when someone asks if they need anything, as if even the question feels too close to a boundary they cannot cross. They tell themselves they are fine, that this is normal, that everyone feels overwhelmed sometimes. But inside, there is a small ache growing in places they try not to look at. An ache that whispers that they have been carrying more than they were ever meant to hold alone. There is also a deeper fear, one they rarely admit, even in their own thoughts. It is the fear that if they ask for help, even once, something inside them will break open. They worry that the moment they show weakness, the strong self they have built so carefully will fall apart. They fear the feeling of losing control even for a second, because control has been their safety for as long as they can remember. So they tell themselves that silence keeps them strong, even when silence is the very thing that pulls them further away from the softness they long for. This conflict creates a kind of inward tension. On one side is the longing to be held, understood, comforted, feelings that rise to the surface in quiet moments when the world is still. On the other side is the voice that says, "You must not ask, you must not need, you must stand alone." This tug of war continues day after day, wearing down their heart like water carving through stone. The longer it goes on, the more they begin to believe that the strong version of themselves is the only version others will accept. They rarely notice the loneliness creeping in. It does not arrive loudly, it settles slowly, like dust gathering in corners. One day they realize that they cannot remember the last time they truly opened up to someone. They cannot remember the last time someone saw their pain before they had cleaned it, folded it, and stored it away. They cannot remember the last time they felt the relief of being met with understanding instead of the constant responsibility to appear unshaken. And when they notice this loneliness, it scares them because it reveals a truth they have been avoiding. The silence they believed was protecting them has also been isolating them. Another hidden cost is resentment, not anger at others, but at themselves. They wonder why they carry so much. They wonder why no one steps in. They wonder why life feels heavier for them than for the people around them. But they never allow themselves to see the other side. That others cannot reach for burdens that are kept hidden behind walls. So they turn the frustration inward, letting it add to the quiet storm building inside their chest. Sometimes, when they are alone for long enough, their mind begins to ask gentle questions. Why do I never let anyone in? Why does it feel so hard to speak when I'm hurting? Why do I believe that my needs are too much? These questions float to the surface like small lights in the dark, showing truths they once pushed away. And in those moments, they begin to sense that this silence they carry is not made of strength alone. It is made of fear, of habit, of old wounds that were never given the chance to heal. As this realization grows, a deeper understanding begins to form. Holding everything alone is not a stable way to live. It is not a sign of strength, but a sign of someone who has been surviving for far too long. And beneath all the layers of protection and control lies a softer truth that is both painful and freeing. What they really want is connection, not distance. What they really need is support, not silence. And to reach it, they must face the inner world they have avoided, the place where their fear and longing meet, waiting to be understood. When you look closely at the life of someone who never asks for help, you begin to see that their silence is not simply a habit, but a long story carried inside them. It is woven from memories, shaped by early lessons, and held in place by fears they rarely say out loud. And yet, beneath all of that, there is a steady truth that does not disappear. Every person, no matter how strong, longs to feel understood. Even the ones who solve everything alone still ache for a moment when someone sees their struggle without needing to be told. They carry this hope quietly, like a soft light kept deep within, waiting for the day it feels safe to be seen. As you sit with everything we have explored, notice how these patterns form an inner world that is both strong and fragile. The strength comes from survival, from years of learning how to stand on their own feet. But the fragility comes from the emotional cost of holding everything without relief. It is a life that makes them appear steady on the outside, yet inside, the weight spreads into every corner of their mind. They become experts at hiding strain, at calming their voice, at smoothing the edges of their feelings before anyone can see them. But even experts get tired. Even they feel the pressure of silence building little by little, like water filling a glass someone forgot to empty. There is something tender in noticing this, something that invites a softer kind of understanding. Instead of seeing their independence as refusal, you begin to see it as protection. Instead of seeing their distance as coldness, you begin to see it as fear. Fear that opening up will break something they have held together for so long. The more you understand this, the clearer it becomes that the path toward change is not force or pressure or repeated requests for openness. It is gentleness, patience, kind eyes that do not demand but invite. It is the slow kind of safety that helps the heart realize it does not have to guard itself forever. Take a moment and look inward. Let your mind move gently through the places where you carry your own silence. Notice the moments where you step back instead of reaching forward. The feelings you hid because you were afraid they would make you appear weak. The nights when you stayed awake solving problems alone because asking for help felt too risky. These moments are not failures. They are signals. They tell you where your heart learned to protect itself, and they show you the parts of your life that are waiting to be understood, not judged. Awareness does not erase these patterns right away, but it softens them. It gives you a chance to pause before repeating the same reflex and ask yourself a simple question. What am I afraid will happen if I let someone in? You might notice fear rise up. You might feel your chest tighten or your throat want to close. These reactions are old. They belong to the part of you that learned long ago that needing help was unsafe. But now you have the chance to listen without obeying. You have the chance to let the present moment be different from the past. You may find that offering yourself even an inch of kindness opens a door that has been closed for years. As you move forward, try to hold this understanding the way you would hold something delicate, with care, with curiosity, with room to breathe. You do not need to rush toward change. You do not need to open everything at once. Even a small shift is enough. Even one moment of honesty, spoken softly, can begin to rewrite the story you have carried for so long. Asking for help does not make you weak. It makes you human. And sometimes, being human means letting someone else stand beside you, even if only for a few steps. Take a moment now and notice where these patterns touch your own life. Notice the places where you stand alone without needing to, the places where your silence protects you but also isolates you. Awareness is the first step toward understanding, and understanding is the first step toward a gentler life. If you would like more calm, thoughtful explorations of the mind, you are welcome to subscribe. And if there are topics you want to hear about, you are free to share them. They help guide what comes next. Until next time, be gentle with yourself.